Okay, so I've had one shot at this, and I made a mistake of using AI to generate the prompt, and it created a whole bunch of silly problems, which is my experience with vibe coding. It's actually better just to start with one feature, an example, and then build upon it from there. There's a whole bunch of like inherent features that most apps are going to have, and Bolt in this case, which uses Claude code. Actually, it's using Sonnet. That's interesting. Maybe that's why I prefer 4.5. I don't know if I like Sonnet. Interesting, because I noticed it's a lot slower and it looks like it switched to Sonnet. So I might actually switch to Opus. That's a side thing. But what it's going to do is it's going to create basically the concept of the app with, the main features, whether or not, in my case, I'm going to probably use a third party API to schedule posts, which I've done for another application, which is Viral Hooks. I actually want to build this infographic feature inside of Viral Hooks, but I'm a little nervous about touching what I've built there. So I wanted to build this as a separate application first and then decide if I include that as a feature. Inside of Viral Hooks, for example, I have the ability to upload an image for a LinkedIn post that I schedule, and I have the ability to generate one from AI. And then I tried adding tenor, and it turns out there's just a real problem with getting tenor move like MOV files to be published to LinkedIn via the API. It blocks every single GIF, which is annoying. All right, that's neither here nor there. And then I find if I use simple language and focus on the feature, it can derive most of the features I need, like sign up, sign in, settings. And in this case, what I've told it is basically I want to create a LinkedIn infographic image generation app. The user can choose the topic, tone, and 3 to 6 pills. As you can see, I have a typo in there. It's weird because normally it'll correct my typos, but it carried it over. I think this must be a Sonnet thing because normally it would catch the fact that I had the typo. I had to correct it later. Um, it's basically going to be part of a new post generation feature. The output should be compliant with the application. In this case, there are guidelines around image sizes inside of through the LinkedIn API. I've given it details on, in this case, the API that I'm using to schedule and publish. And the infographics should be beautiful and easy to read, similar to those created by, I've referenced two people that whose posts I like, and I gave it 3 examples actually in images that I attached. And then it basically went ahead. You can see it created a plan. So it set up the database schema. In this case, on Bolt, it uses Supabase as the backend, and then you can claim the project if you want. Otherwise, you can just keep it hosted now on Bolt, which is actually really useful. Same thing, you used to have to publish to Netlify directly, and then they made Bolt Cloud, I think in August, September, somewhere around there. And what Bolt Cloud is basically their instance of Netlify, so it's a lot easier. You don't have to move it. Create infographic builder with UI, topic, tone, and pill inputs, which is really pillar inputs. Build Canvas-based infographic generator with template styles. Integrate the API to scheduling and publishing. Allow the user to create their LinkedIn account, which I know does not work, so I have to troubleshoot that. Implement post-generation feature with preview and create the main app component and integrate all features, and then test the complete flow. So it's got its own game plan. It built it out. It started adding up all the, building out all the features, and then this is what it came up with. I did have to correct that one typo, which took a really long time, and now I'm realizing why, because it's using Claude Sonnet instead of Opus, and Opus was very, very good. It was a big improvement. All right, so this is what it came up with. So actually, I'm going to go back to the builder and I'm going to sign out. And I think there's some problems here I've already noticed, so I'll have to correct them. So let's see, gallery, does it have a history? Oh, it did keep a history. So this was a problem before when I tried using a prompt generated, in this case by Grok, and it created all these technical problems and it started lying to me almost immediately. So I just basically ditched that project for this, used the much simpler language I explained, and so far it's actually not too bad. So basically it has a flow where you can come in, you give an infographic a title, a subtitle, who's writing it, the tone, and then whether the template is modern, classic, or minimal. I don't know what the difference between classic and modern is, but I guess I'll play with that. We can test it. And then pillars. So think of pillars in this case. I'm imagining the sections of the infographic, right? So then the first one I generated, you can see, is in the gallery. So it's very plain at the moment. So I'll work on design changes, but it used my headline and the sub headline, who it was created by, which I might move to the bottom, and then it took my pillars and the bullet points for each, and it generated an image, which is great. And I can actually download that image. It doesn't look like my LinkedIn account is working, so I have to go troubleshoot that. So something's not working with the API that I'm trying to integrate to LinkedIn with. So I'll go figure that out. But in this case, you can see that it took all the text and also created a post caption, which, once I sort out this posting scheduling feature, and I'll have to create a calendar here so I can see this schedule, it has a pretty decent post. So what I'll keep working on is different graphic styles that the user can choose from. And I haven't even tested these other ones of what it came up with. So I'll test classic and minimal, and then I'll think about some other ways to modify this. This is not working for sure, so I got to go figure that out. But that's what it's generated already. So this is an interesting first step.